I'm here with Marcus Cook. We met kind of through the internet. He reached out to me and has an incredible story, which he's kind of documenting, and was excited to chat with him and kind of hear from him and talk to him about his journey, where he's at presently, and where he's going. And so, Marcus, first off, thanks for finding the time to chat with me. And maybe you could just start with where you're from and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Marcus Cook. As you said, I been living in Houston area pretty much my whole life. My dad was a preacher when I was growing up, and we lived in Southeast Texas pretty much my whole life. Born in Houston. 44 years old. I got four kids. Happily married for about 21 years, and just an everyday kind of guy. Never graduated college, and been in the pipeline oil and gas industry for pretty much my whole adult life, and that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Great. I know previously, I think I saw that you were approaching 500 pounds. Where are you at now? How many pounds have you lost?
Yeah, so I think I'm right around 278 pounds today, give or take. I mean, depends. Like last few mornings, it was like 276 2 mornings ago. Then this morning 278. But I don't really look at any of that just because how much I'm working out. Everything, water into everything just fluctuates. But I was 489 2 weeks before surgery, and I had the gastric bypass back in September 14th of last year. So right at 10 months ago, I had weight loss surgery. Previously, before that, about 8 years before that, I had the lap band and went through some. I lost probably like 70 pounds with that surgery, and then I converted to the gastric bypass 10 months ago. And so, yeah, I've lost close to 212 pounds or whatever that is, 213 pounds.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, no, it's been an awesome ride. It's getting my life back. I think is kind of the way I look at it. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and looking back, can you kind of talk about or can you see the things that maybe led to you becoming that weight? What was your expectation of food growing up or health growing up and what kind of led you to be in that place?
Yeah, I think people, yeah, I get asked that question a lot. And whenever you're getting into that range of being big, you're just thinking yourself as a person. You're looking through your two eyes, and you're just Marcus. You're just that's who I am. I'm big. My parents were big. So you just kind of you kind of just have that mentality of not thinking, how am I becoming this big? What am I doing wrong? But being a preacher's kid, my dad is an accomplished chef. We always had great food in the house, and we were obviously in the Bible Belt, so we were always doing things around food. And even as an adult, I would plan vacations and do things where, hey, it wasn't about what the activity was, where we were going to go. It was like, where are we going to eat and who has the best. All the things you search in Google for. I found in the last, especially last 5 months, have changed with being in shape, starting to be in shape, and more than I am. But I just every year it just kept on getting worse and worse, and you know, I, as I'm starting to be so active and whatnot, you start looking at, hey, well, I need to try to get sponsors because so many people are watching me, and all those things that go through your mind because I've never been in this spot before. So I'm like, man, I ought to get Coca-Cola to sponsor me because it's probably their fault that I am who I am. I've lost so much weight because it's their product that I was consuming. I would probably drink back in the heyday of 10 months ago. I was probably drinking 6 to 8 Sprites a day. Just that was my drink. That was my water. And it was just a. So I contribute soft drinks mainly. Just and I think the little video, or it's a picture on Facebook or something was floating. It showed the packets, of sugar per item that I don't know, you know what I'm talking about. And then like you get to a Coke and it's like a solid container of sugar, And I don't know if all that's true, but I guarantee you, I had a lot of sugar intake from soft drinks. I never really was a big chocolate guy, but carbs and soft drinks, man, that was that was the epitome of who I was, you know.
Yeah, I think you said in a previous conversation with me that restaurants were your thing. You would go, it was a priority financially, it was a priority time wise. Wine and dine clients, and huge dinner bills and all that kind of stuff. That seemed
Oh
like
yeah.
it was a big focus for you.
Yeah, just I could go, and still to this day, I've got great friends that own restaurants, and it's great establishments in Houston, some of the best, and I could walk in and today, and just get the service that you just the people would just like, wow, that guy goes there a lot, and it still happens, I still take customers out, but I'm getting vegetables and not drinking wine, and just drinking water and not taking the bread. And those restaurant owners, I've got a very good friend Charles, and Charles owns his partner with Ibiza here in town. They own about 3 or 4 restaurants, and he just loves my story, and I'll go in now instead of him making some like duck fat toast with whatever he's like making me a vegetable barley, and hey, did you like that? I got another one. Come in next time, and I got another vegetable recipe I'll make for you. So it's still the same kind of coolness, but it's just a different different aspect of food, I guess, is from what I'm craving now.
Yeah, it's awesome. I, I think I saw somewhere that it said that you avoided pictures for like something like 10 years.
It,
Can you talk about that?
yeah, I've my dad was an art teacher growing up. He was a preacher, and he worked at independent school district as an art teacher. My mom was a teacher, so you know, growing up, I've always been artistic, and I'm a musician. I've played the bass for forever since I was 12 years old, and my brother was always into photography, and so probably 8 or 9 years ago, I kind of started getting into photography, and I love it, and I have an eye for it, and I've I got the big cameras, I got the big lenses, but I hated for anyone to take a picture of me. And if it was on, if I would let my brother take a picture, and I had another close friend that we would do family pictures with, and I just because there's a way when you're a photographer that you can cheat the camera, and especially doing friends, women, they'll say, hey, yeah, make me look skinny, make me look, make sure my skin's right, airbrush me out. Well, all those things are, you can do some cheating as a photographer, and as you know, you're a photographer, so um, there's ways to take pictures of big people where they don't look quite so big. So I knew that my brother could do it, and I trusted another lady to do it, and so I would do pictures probably once a year, and some years I would just go, nah, I'm not doing family pictures this year. We'll just take pictures of the kids, and I would take great pictures of the kids, and but I think I know what you're reading. So basically I was at we were at a company crawfish bowl. It was at the end of the season of the crawfish season, and they had cooked a bunch of crawfish. And I came over there, and there was a employee that had a camera, and he was just taking pictures of the day, and he had took a picture of me, and I saw him take a picture of me. I said, hey, don't put that up nowhere, that kind of deal, And he was like, yes, sir, and all of a sudden I get up on Facebook, and I've been tagged in this picture, on Facebook, and I immediately called him and said, untag me and take the picture down. And he was like, why, boss? It's a company crawfish bowl. And I was like, man, I don't want to see that picture. It's bad. It makes me look, I'm huge. And he's kind of like, yeah, that's who you are. You're Marcus. You're bigger than life. That kind of deal. And like, just take it down. I don't want to. So I ended up forgetting about that picture, and immediately it came off Facebook, um, and I just remember seeing that picture in my mind, going, "Golly, is that who I've become? Is that really what I look like?" And then then I started thinking back to the times that I took pictures of big people, and they would be mad, like, "I don't want that picture," and I'm thinking, "Man, it's a great picture of you. What are you talking about?" And and I'm looking at the picture going, "That's who you are." And they're looking at the picture going, "I'm not that person. I'm not." And you're thinking, "Oh yeah, you are that person because I just took the picture of you. I did a good job." They're like, so I kind of said, man, that's not the camera adding that weight to me. I look like I'm 500 pounds. I don't. That's what I look like. And so I just that was the picture that pretty much saved my life. Is what I equate it to. I equate that one picture and that one moment of going, nah, that cannot be me. And I got to change it. So at that point, I made my mind that I was going to proceed and go through as quick as I could to getting some help to drastically dropping my weight.
So once you decided to make that change, what were the next steps forward for you?
Yeah,
what did that kind of materialize, or what did that become?
yeah. I'd kind of previously before that, I had started searching for the best bariatric surgeon I could find. And being where I'm at in the company, I don't, I knew I didn't need to die. Not even, I wasn't even thinking, I was thinking more for my family. I'm saying, hey, I've got something here that I've got to be alive for. I've got to, I'm the breadwinner for the family. My coworkers, they're not going to want me to die. You know what I'm saying? My customers aren't going to want me to die. We're in the busiest time of the pipeline industry, the oil and gas industry was what was going on. And so I was like, I just started interviewing doctors probably about 3 or 4 months before that picture, anticipating, hey, I'm going to try to do this on my own again. And if I can't, I got to make my mind because weight loss surgery are so scary. You have, and I'm so big, and I knew that I was unsuccessful at losing weight on my own. I'd already determined that because I tried every diet possibly known to man, and it always ended in failure, and I would drop 20 pounds, and then if you look at that scale of, okay, I mean, he dropped 20 pounds in 2 months, and a normal person, that's a successful diet. Well, when you're 500 pounds, you feel like you have done nothing. You're like, okay, I didn't put on my jeans and my shoes and my shirt, and that's what I've lost. Because that's what you're thinking. Your clothes weigh 10 pounds when you're that big, and so I had searched for the best doctor, and I went through three. I narrowed it down to three, and I've got some very close friend of mine. His wife is at a hospital here in town, and one of the previous owners of the company has recently passed away. Lost his battle with cancer. He was very instrumental to me to say, Marcus, you got to do something. I'm dying because I have cancer. You're dying because you have a choice. You have a choice what you're doing. And so Chuck Dalio was that guy, and he was super just an important person to me at the end of his life. We had growing up in that relationship. I had battled him in business for since the beginning of my career, and that was 15 years, 10 years. I can't remember the dates right now. I know I have it written down, but I had battled him forever, and then recently they acquired a company that I was a part of, so I came to work for his company, and then obviously he stepped out into a different role, and so when he stepped out of a different role during that year and a half of him realizing that I really wasn't a horrible guy like he, and me realizing that he wasn't this terrible guy that I had grown up to think, in business thinking, that both of us really had a lot in common, and he'd tell me, hey, dude, I'm probably going to die from cancer, but you have a choice, and you got to promise me you're going to try to make it. So he had a lot of great connections in the medical industry, and he was searching for the best guy because he knew I didn't need to die, and he knew it was a really big. He knew it was really weighing on me. So with about 3 or 4 people, kind of helping find the right guy, we narrowed it down to the top 3 guys in Houston, and that we felt would be beneficial for me for a conversion. Because I was coming out of a lap band to a gastric bypass, so there could be some complications with that. Plus, I was so big. So I went and met with Dr. Garth Davis, and his dad is a pioneer in the industry, and so I met with him, and he sat there and said, "Hey, dude, you got to do something with your weight. You got to do some, you got to change your mind. You got to." I mean, he just said so many great things, but one thing he told me, he said, "Hey, it's only a tool. You have to do something new every day to make this thing work right. You got to stop thinking like you're fat. You got to stop thinking like you're big, and you got to start thinking like a healthy person." And I hated him for saying that because, for that 3 months before I saw that picture, that's all I thought about. I was like, so, I went after that day and I went to my buddy Charles's restaurant in Ibiza and I sat down and I said, give me a vegetable plate, Charles. And Charles brought out this, you know, cauliflower and all this vegetables, and I said, oh God, this is what my life's coming to. I'm just gonna, oh, this is horrible. So, I kind of gave up on that diet pretty quick because it's pretty disheartening to, just go from one day thinking you're going to be healed from all things, fat because your doctor tells you to do something new. And then I saw that picture, so then I went back to Garth Davis after that picture, and I said, "Hey, dude, we got to do it. I can't do this thing being this big anymore." And so he said, "Hey, let's get it on the surgery. Let's get it planted out." And he said, "You're going to do a 2 week pre-op diet, and you're going to try to lose as much weight you can in that 2 weeks." And so pretty much, I left there, and I had about 3 weeks before surgery. By the time we got everything figured out and done, all the testing done, maybe 4 weeks. And I had planned, and I know they tell you not to do this, but I'm just telling myself, okay, I'm flat out telling them. So they say do not, you go to the nutritionist meeting, and they say do not, do crazy meals. Start now. If you're going to have surgery, start now. And I was just thinking, I'm never going to be able to eat normal again. I'm never going to be able to drink again for a long time. I'm never going to be all these things. I'm thinking it's over. Ba 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 ba. The guy rolling the cart out. Your life is over, Mr. Cook. And I had no idea that I was going to feel the way I feel. And so I can remember. I remember calling every good friend of mine. There was a customer, every good friend that wasn't a customer, I have so many friends that are customers that uh, I had them flying in to Houston to eat dinner with me. So I planned. I ate at serious places for like 2 weeks before the diet. Before the 2 week post op diet, and I know you're not supposed to do that, but I definitely did. And I eat Kobe beef, and I drink great wine with great friends because in my mind I was like, man, if I don't survive, I'm having the Last Supper with everyone that I want to have Last Supper with. And a lot of good friends ate with me, and they're some of them are going to watch this and go, hey, I was one of those guys that I ate with him. And I remember coming into weigh, and I kind of walked in like I know that I'm gonna be so much heavier, and I walked on the scale and I looked at it and it was 489, and I was like, man, that's like 14 pounds heavier than I was 3 months ago, here. And I looked at her and I said, are you gonna log this weight? And she's like, no, we don't log this weight. And I was like, oh man, come on, you're not gonna log the weight? I mean, look at this weight. I said, you don't know who I am. I'm gonna do this thing. It's gonna be crazy. She's like, no, you just need to start eating. Yeah, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have, I got on to. And so all of a sudden I do I do the, I do the 2 week, post-op diet, and when you do that thing, you're like, they give you this whole list of things of why you got to do it. And, one thing is to make your liver smaller. So when they go into the incision, that, they don't have, they don't have the liver right there beside your stomach. And so you shrink your liver because you're pretty much fasting, and I was, so you go in and you want them to tell you good job, and I think I'd lost 30 pounds, before surgery date. I mean, it might have been 27 pounds in 2 weeks on a liquid diet. And so, and then the doctor comes in and he's strictly business that morning. You're all wired. You're like, yeah, hey man, did you see that weight? And he's like, no, I didn't see the weight, but good job. I'm glad you lost the weight. We're going to get in, he's all business, and you're like, and at least he could have said a good job losing 28 pounds, guy. And probably I'm thinking, they're thinking, hey, we're gonna. You don't know what's coming because it's fixing to get hard for you. Because when you have weight loss surgery, you are going to lose weight. There's no doubt about it. I've talked to before the surgery, I gathered probably 5 or 6 people that had the surgery where I could just bounce questions because I wanted to know, and I wasn't really part of any big thread. I know Facebook has a lot of support groups that you can use, and so anybody doing that, you can get a lot of the questions answered just by going to join a Facebook group. And but the, the surgery fixes one thing, but the problem is still in your mind. And I think we were talking, the other night when we were talking, I really started hitting home with myself because we started talking about the stereotypes of a big person versus, when people look at a big person, they just think they're big because they just, oh, we love being big, and it's really not that way. And so, um, but inside that, the addiction to being hooked on, all of those sodas and all those things, what I'm saying, really is the worst addiction that you could possibly do. Because if you go have weight loss surgery, yeah, you can fix that problem. Just like if you go to rehab and you got to get off pills, they can go in and, 2, 3, 4 weeks. I've never done it. I've never been addicted to pills like that. You have to go to rehab, but you can come out of that program and you're just dealing with your mind. And the problem is whenever you come out of surgery, you're dealing with your mind, and then you're dealing that you're still freaking huge. You know what I'm saying? So those are the things that I think that that have been not been a challenge, but it's also just been the joys and the journey of just doing it.
Yeah. So how long did it take, or what did the process look like in terms of you starting to heal and change that other part, that mind part? You had the surgery, you start losing weight, but you still are in that same mindset. What did that kind of journey of the
Yeah,
mind look like?
yeah. See, with the gastric bypass, you've got a lot of rules and stipulations that you can't eat certain things and you can't do certain things for time periods. And a lot of people they follow that rule strict. And I was very luckily enough to have a friend of mine, Mike Ford. He was my trainer, my personal trainer, who had lost 190 pounds from weight loss surgery, and he's done some half Ironmans, and we'll probably get into that story here in a minute. But he was really specific to tell me, hey, dude, you got to do exactly what your doctor says. Do it exactly what he says, because he's the one that your surgeon's the one that's done the surgery. He's liable for everything that's going on inside your stomach, and you need to do exactly what he says. So a lot of that is no sugar, no there's so many things that you do in that thing. And so, I think a lot of that mind change happens in that first 2 months. It happened in really the first month, 2 months for me, because you start not eating, you start not drinking certain drinks, you're only drinking water. So you're really just you're purging your body of just really bad things. You know what I'm saying? So once you start realizing, hey, I don't need a Sprite in the morning to feel good. I don't need a piece of bread to keep me going. I can grab a banana, I can grab a whatever, some fruit, or I can eat an egg. I'm saying all those things that you just start trying to do. That's kind of where I think it helped me, really get through the first couple of, especially the first couple of months of that whole process of changing, how you feel. And then it's just like it's kind of like a vicious cycle of being addicted to something. First you got to have something, then you got to have a little bit more, then you start doing different things to get more, and and I never would believe it, and I know you were probably in the same boat I was in. People say, man, it's addictive. You're just going to be addicted to it, and you're in that first couple of weeks of working out. You're like, the hell, this is addicting. I hate this shit. My body's like, my body don't want to do this. I don't know why this guy's addicted to working out. I don't know why them guys are going to CrossFit every day, because this sucks. And then all of a sudden you kind of like you miss a day, or you something happened, you didn't get to do your plan. You're like, man, I gotta go. I hate. Right now I hate taking off a day. I mean, I feel like I'm in the penalty box. Like yesterday I had to take off, and I'm like, golly, I just, and so I chose to travel to go see some customers and doing a weight trip. And I came back today and I was like, man, I got to do this interview, and then I got to get on the bike and ride, because I haven't rode in it, and then I'm realizing, hey, dummy, it's only been a day since you rode, so you're not going to die.
Yeah, it's
So
amazing.
it's just an addiction for a different thing. It's an addiction to feeling alive. It's addiction to uh, you know, instead of looking for a place to go eat when you go somewhere, I'm looking for a place to go hike. I'm looking for a place to, hey, what 5K is running in the town that I'm going to be in? Well, what we've got to be at Bill at 2. Well, I know they happen at 6:30 in the morning. I can go get a 10K in. So you start. It's just a different. It's just a different life. Instead of talking about, hey, what kind of bourbon we're going to be drinking, it's more like, hey, are you going to come to my triathlon next month, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's just different. It's a different lifestyle.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I know that you've done a few sprint tries and you have a bunch more planned in the future. And I think I saw you originally joke to Dr. Garth that if you lost a significant amount of weight, that he should do a triathlon with you. Did you think at that moment, number one, did you think that that was realistic for yourself? And number two, did you think it was, a possibility that he would do it with you? Because it sounds to me like, from what I've seen online, you guys have actually done some things together.
Yeah, it was crazy. So the way the whole triathlon deal happened was, this my trainer, Mike Ford. I had previously 2 years ago hired him for two training sessions, and he basically worked me out for 2 days, and I got so sore I couldn't move, and I was like, you know what, bro, I ain't doing this because I can't walk, I can't even go up a curb without crying. You can take this whole athletic deal and stick it where the sun don't shine. And I told him, I said, hey, at one point I'm gonna get weight loss surgery. When I do, I'll call you. That's how I got out of it. And he was like, well, okay, just call me if you need anything. Great guy. And I mean, we're pretty good friends today. And uh, I had another friend that remember the Chuck Dallio connection. My boss had passed away, and so he pretty much he had a friend up in Connecticut. His name is Will Castle, and Will is on he was a national rower on the national rowing team. They won some big award, big stuff. He was off on the years to do the Olympics, but just an athlete, and he's kind of in a business that works alongside of the company that I'm at, and so whenever Chuck started seeing kind of that it could go bad for him, he had hooked me and Will together up and said, hey, Marcus Marcus, I want Marcus to help you with anything you need help with in the industry, and I want you to kind of be there for him because he's got a journey he's going to go on. So me and Will just me and Will just on a mental level, Will kind of he's my mental coach, for lack of terms. And just because I knew a rower on a rowing team is just a serious guy. They're just grinding out this excruciating workout that no one would ever do. You're working with the team, your hands are bleeding. It's just a beast of a workout. So Will had got out of I got out of surgery, and Will said, "Hey, you're going to make it. Don't worry about anything. No stress. All my friends, and the cool thing about almost every one of them, I think every one of my super close friends was like, hey, dude, do not worry about your family. Don't worry about your kids. Don't worry about anything. Take that stress away. We know you prepared for it, but anything happens to you, don't, have a peace of mind. It's all good." And I was like, so that part of my life when I was going to surgery was alleviated. And Will was like, got out of the surgery. He's like, hey, dude, you're going to make it. Call me when you're done. We're going to get it. I want to help you. We're going to get through this, because you got a long road. You got a long road. So I got out of surgery, and I remember Dr. Garth saying, hey, you need to walk because of blood clots. So like, a day after surgery, after I came home, I was getting up in the house and I would walk outside. It was in September, so it was hot. I'd walk to the end of the road. I'd go down and kind of just every day just try to get a little longer. And then I kind of got out of the blood clot stage of having to walk because of blood clots and your forming in your legs and all that, and kind of just got into an area where it was more safe, where I didn't have to walk as much because it was so hot. And so I got in the stage. I was like, Will, I gotta, they're gonna release me to start doing stuff, soon, and I'm supposed to be walking. He's like, dude, all I want you to do is walk 20 minutes a day. That's what I want you to do. So I was like, okay, 20 minutes a day, I could do that. And I can remember walking those 20 minutes and, just dying, and I walked, I went to Odessa, and I was in Odessa for a grand opening of a store that we'd opened out into the oil field area out in Pecos. And we were out there, and I wasn't able to eat hardly anything, normal still. I was on a real limited diet. It was a month after surgery. So I'm going to have to be real careful what I'm eating. I think I was eating soft foods at the time. And I went with a buddy, and I went and walked to the treadmill. And I walked, because I got there on a Monday. I was like, I got to walk. I'm going to try this treadmill out. So I went to that treadmill, and I just started walking. It was like 2 miles an hour. And and my buddy came in there and walked with me the whole time. He's like, man, I'm so proud of you walking, Marcus. Russ Mason is his name. I'm so glad. So me and Russ that whole week went down to that hotel and we walked for 20 minutes. And I was just so jazzed that I was able to walk for 20 minutes because I had done it. I had done that in years, bro. I mean, years. And and Will, during that time, I called Will. I was like, man, I'm walking 20 minutes, Will. He said, well, I want you to, he said, whenever, like next week, I want you to try to walk a mile. Don't walk a mile right now, just walk a mile next time. So I walked a mile, and then all of a sudden Will goes, okay, look, we got to get a goal because I could tell you're motivated. I could tell you're doing it. What do you like to do? And I was like, well, I got a buddy who lost all his weight, and he did that half Ironman. And Will's like, oh, he said that's they got different sizes of those things, and I mean we could say we want to do one of them. Let's but don't say it. I don't want you telling anybody until you call and tell me that's what we're doing. He said, because I want you to think about it. He said, a year from your surgery date, we're gonna go do something cool, and I'm gonna look online and I'm gonna see what cool thing is happening around your surgery date. So he calls me back about 2 weeks later, and I'm still now walking the mile, and I'm trying to walk, and it's all about the walk, and and um, and and I remember him calling me. He says, "Hey, I looked online, and there's a sprint triathlon in Miami, and it's about a week after your surgery day. Do you want to do that? You need to look at that." So I looked at it. I was like, "God, do you think I could do that?" I mean, I was 400, 60 pounds probably at that point. And he was like, "Well, yeah, you can do it. It's a year away. You can do anything in a year." And I was like, "Well, I got this buddy, and he's training me in the gym, and I'm going to tell him that I want to do it." He's like, "Yeah, your trainer is going to get you there." He said, "Just tell him that's what we're going to go for." So he said, "But do not tell him until you make sure that's what you want to do, because you got to have a goal." He said, "You got to have a goal." And he said, "I agree with your doctor. You got to do something new every day. You can't park in the back of the parking lot. You got to park you can't park in the front of the parking lot. You got to park in the back of the parking lot. You can't." He said, "I want you taking the stairs. Don't take the escalator." And so I looked at the deal and I said, "We're doing a sprint triathlon. That's what I'm doing." And I said it and I put it on Facebook. And he called me back and said, "We're doing it." He said, "You're going to do it. You're going to do that sprint triathlon." So as I started losing weight, and I started, now I'm running, I can remember, on the video, I don't know if you've seen the video, but I did this video, and I can remember running with my son for the first time he's 16 years old at the time. And that's the first time I ever ran with him. I can remember jogging with my wife for the first time. And still to this day, I'll be doing something, an exercise, and I was on the race at the triathlon this last week, and I come around the corner, and this little bitty triathlon guy is laid down on his bike, and he passes me on the corner, and I'm like, and I'm down, I've got to convert it out, road bike to a tri bike, just because of the geometry, because my stomach's still, the skin, extra skin. So I'm laid down, and all of a sudden, man, about eighth mile into the deal, I blow by this guy that's looks like he's a badass. He's got a little bike. He's probably going 20 miles an hour, and I just go right by him, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, and I teared up a little bit. I'm like, "Hey man, what are you doing? Dude, you can't get emotional during the race. You're gonna wreck, because whenever you're doing that, and you never thought that you would be doing that ever in your life or capable of doing it. The capabilities of what you have once you gain control of a certain area of your life, whether it's a little step, whether you do it without surgery or whether you do it with surgery, it's still major accomplishments that happen that lead to bigger accomplishments. You know what I'm saying? That 20-minute walk that he told me to do led me to average 20 miles an hour on my bike last Sunday at a race. when I'm 270 pounds, bro. You know, I'm in the 270-pound mark, and I was blowing by guys that were 160. So the 20-minute mile walk that he told me to start 8 months ago is a little bitty thing, but as you keep continually progressing in everything you're doing, whether it's diet or exercise, leads to your capability of doing things that you never thought you would do.
What an amazing story, and what a difference 10 months can make in somebody's life. Yeah, I saw the video, which is great, and I'll certainly include a link to all that. And you say in it, I want to live. I want to be there for my kids. I want to be able to hold my grandkids. I want to be able to walk my daughter down the aisle. Can you kind of talk about that project? I think it's called Big to Little, and what your goals are for that. What do you hope to accomplish in documenting your journey and sharing your journey with others?
Yeah, I want to make $1 million. Now I'm joking. Mainly, it was mainly you know, I'm guessing that to me, Big to Little really, it's an accountability tool, for me. Yeah, that's one side note that it really helps me do. Just knowing that I have so many people that are watching me. And I say so many. Who knows how many that really is? I mean, there's 500 people on the site. On the Facebook page that like it. And, we made the news locally. I went into a shoe store the next day, and people, hey, you're the guy on the news, run, try. So that was kind of a cool deal. But Big to Little mainly is just a documentary of me being big to getting to be a regular sized guy, and because and I think I told you this before, and you were probably the same way. You get so many stares when you're big. You get so many mean looks from people that are just buff and women that are just beautiful, and they just kind of like it's like that guy, he's just so. I mean, he's so disgusting. Why would he even want to? How would he? How can he even be married? How can he have kids? That's just gross. And in my eyes, had I just had one of those guys say, "Hey, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to take you into the wing. I want you to walk 20 minutes. That's all I want you to do. Just walk 20 minutes." Dude, I just wonder how I how it would have progressed in a different life, because I know I can do it now because I had people believe in me. And one thing that I do in that deal is I talk about building a team of people around you. And I know that I'm really blessed with a lot of cool people in my life. I've just got a lot of great men that are around me, that believe in me, that love me, that we're brothers. And there's people out there that probably aren't going to have the pool of people that I have, but just one person, just I can remember the first camaraderie that I felt with working out, and to this day I regret not keeping that relationship or asking for his phone number. As I was walking, probably the first long walk that I did, and I rewind back to that 20-minute walk, and now I'm walking a mile, and I'm at the track, and I'm walking. Well, at that point in the game, I was like, hey, I got to find a new track because tracks are cool. I didn't know this was so cool to have, I didn't know people walked every day. I mean, it's great. And I can remember going to this track, and it was probably about 6 miles from the house here, and there's a black gentleman that was walking, and we were walking, and I was kind of walking the wrong way on the track, because I didn't know where the start points were and the stop points, and he was walking a different way, and I saw him. I was like, man, that guy just looks cool. I'd love to talk to him. And then we get to the backside of the track, and I see him again, and he's walking, and I just started talking to him, and we both had earphones in. I pulled my earphones out, and I said, I told him my story. I said, man, I had weight loss surgery. I probably lost 30 pounds. I just I'm walking. I can't believe that I'm walking. And he was like, man, that's crazy. That's so hot. I've been walking at a track, and they got football going now. I can't, so I just come in here now. It's cool that we met. I'm a retired parole officer, and we had the best talk. And I came back the next day, and it was a little bit earlier because I was I had something to do that night, so I came about an hour earlier. He told me, he said, hey, I'm the next 3 months at 6:30. I'll see you here. When we left, and I was like, that's awesome. I got a walking buddy. I came home and told my wife, I was like, hey, I met this guy, and this black guy that's just cooler than shit, and I want I said, I'm probably going to buy him the house and come eat dinner or something because I mean he just seems like he's a cool guy. The next day I go and I'm walking in the back of that deal and something happened. There was a soccer practice going on and there was a weird car that's parked in the back and it was coming right to me. And I moved over and I wasn't watching. And I was 400. I mean, I was heavy still, and I fell and I twisted my ankle. And I was a mile from my car, and I was hurt so bad, and I thought I broke my ankle. And I lay on the ground. I'm like in agony. I'm thinking, where's my walking buddy? You know, where you at, buddy? Someone come. You know, where's someone to take me? So I walked back on my hurt ankle back to the car, and I was like, I am never walking on that track again. I broke my ankle. You know, this whole thing's blown up bad. Well, anyway, it was 2 weeks before I committed. It was a five, I was going to do. We were going to turkey trot for Thanksgiving, and I committed my whole family to walk this turkey trot as a family. And anyway, I didn't go. I didn't walk for a week and a half, and I went back. You know, and my buddy went there. I didn't get his number, but I'm just telling you that one guy made me realize of how important it is to have that type of person that you can rely on. That's just going to talk to you. That's just going to get you through that pain or get you through just that that cycle that you get in. And just one person can tip it for you because just that's kind of my theory. You got to have a team of people to really be successful. You can do it on your own. You know, obviously it is all about yourself, and I do a lot of workouts by myself right now, and because I'm just in the mental state where I can. But in the beginning, man, even if it's your wife or your spouse or whoever, just or a kid, one of your kids, take them with you.
Yeah, I think it's a great reminder for somebody who's looking to lose weight to seek that person out or seek people out. But then I also think it's a great reminder for other people, not to be afraid to put yourself out there
Yeah,
to
don't
try
be
and
afraid.
help the person next to you. I mean, my journey largely started with, amongst other things, the gift of a bicycle and somebody coming up, which initially at the time I thought, are you trying to, give me something that's going to kill me or what's going on here? But, that gesture really kind of set my life on a trajectory that I didn't expect. My only expectation was falling over the handlebars and having to call my wife to pick me up.
Yeah,
Yet,
I've had one of those moments.
so let me ask you this: if if you were going to give some advice to somebody who's at the beginning of this journey, that you think might help them to realize that there's hope and that change is within their grasp, what would that be?
You know that it's going to be hard. I mean, it is. It's not an easy road. Me and my brother, are best friends, and he jabs me. You know what I'm saying? You know how brothers they jab each other. Hey, he jokingly says almost every time we talk about my journey. Well, Marcus, he kind of took a little shortcut, and he had that weight loss surgery. I'm like, dude, you see that one more time, I'm gonna punch you like I did when I was a kid. You hear me? But you know, a lot of people think that. I mean, I hear it. Oh, you had weight loss surgery. Oh, okay, well, that's why this is so successful. Um, and I kind of say, dude, if you think what I'm doing is a shortcut, then I why don't you just come over to the house tonight and do this workout with me? Because we'll show you real quick. This ain't a shortcut. I mean, this is hard work. Yes, I've had some help. Yes, had a kickstart. And I don't know all the real numbers. I'm not a doctor. I'm far from it. But you're going to lose, realistically 75 to 120 pounds in a year with weight loss surgery with gastric bypass. I think that's kind of an estimate, depending on how much you weigh, and your weight when you start off. But a big guy like me, you're going to be good for 100 easy. Well, I'm 220. I'm going on 220 here in the next, 220 pounds, yeah, in the first year, and it could be 230. I don't know where I'm going to end up by September 14th. So I think I would tell the person if they're starting off on a diet, on a vegetarian plant based, over the last month and a half, I started switching my diet. Doc wanted me to straight off go no, vegan, the first day out of surgery, and I was like, you know what, guy, I'm giving up Cokes, I'm giving up wine, I'm giving up a beer, I'm giving up all these things. I'm not going to give up no steak at the beginning of this thing. So let's wait till I get a little further along and my mind can wrap around, the importance of what you're trying to do for me there. So over the last month and a half, I've switched to pescatarian. I'm probably more vegetarian now of the week than pescatarian. I still do some dairy. I do eggs. I do probably fish 2 or 3 days a week. And so I think my something I would tell someone that was trying to do it is it's going to be the hardest thing that you've ever done in your life, and the pain that you think is going to happen when you work out, and how you're going to want to quit. That's real. You're going to want to quit, and you're going to fail, and you're going to be in misery for a certain amount of time. I mean, it's definite. You're going to feel like it's not addicting. You're going to feel like you don't want to do this. You're going to think that me and Jason here are crazy because we jumped the hurdle. But let me tell you, once you jump that hurdle, the reward is amazing because you are gaining back so much that you're missing. The movies and the Netflix and the fast food and the drive-in restaurant, all the things that you do being big, waiting for the parking spot in the front, the planning out your trip to the store where you don't have to walk, cutting the corner, cutting through the grass. You're going to learn that walking on the sidewalk and not cutting a corner is pretty rewarding. And I can't really describe what I'm saying, other than you're gonna gain so much just by being in misery for a little bit. And the problem with us big people, and I say, I was fat. I knew I was fat. As the problem is that once you change your mind and once you change your diet, you're still dealing with I think Jason, what did you say the other day to me? The punishment, or what was it? The punishment of being that way. You're dealing with that fat that's still on your body,
Right.
and I can't remember the word you used.
The ramifications of
Yeah.
yeah.
You're still dealing with a horrible side effect of you letting yourself get to the point where you are, and you just got to know that changes, and you got to know that um, to this day, and I've talked to you about this. Whenever I'm looking at my eyes, you see your nose and you see your cheekbones, and I still look down at my body, and I still think, man, you are still big. You're just a big guy. You're just big. But in my mind, I know that I was in a 7X shirt. Now I'm in a 3X. I was 56 pants, 58 pants, and now I'm in a 36, 38. I couldn't even buy underwear at a normal store. Now I can go get polos, thank God. I didn't know polo underwear was so comfortable. And had I known, I would have started working out a lot longer. A lot long, more, long time ago. But, you know, the things that you are giving up in the short term are little compared to how you feel. And that's pretty much, a lot of people think, hey, it must be easy what he's doing. It's not easy. It's not easy. But you can do it. It's doable because if I can do it, I've never been on a starting line in my life, and guess what? I've been on three in the last 2 or 3 months, and it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling to do an accomplishment that you never thought you could do ever. So and I don't think I touched on that. So basically, I kept on training for this triathlon, and I would go to the doctor, right? I would go to the doctor, and he would look at my, I'd go to 3 months, and like, golly, everybody would be blown away how much weight I'm losing. he'd say, well, we need to check all your levels. And then I'd go in the 6 months. He says, exactly, what are you doing? Because I mean, you might need to slow down your. I mean, we need to slow down while you're losing all this weight. And I was like, man, so I'm training for a triathlon. I just ran like 3 miles. And he's like, you're training for a triathlon? I was like, well, yes, sir. And he went, dude, I've done like 2 Ironmans. I'm like, you've done an Ironman? And he was like, well, yeah. And I was like, well, what's your times? Because I wanted to see how fast he was, you know. He was like, and he told me his times, and he was fast. I was like, dude, that's like right. That's like elite. And he went, oh yeah. He said I had a good time. You know, I did a it was some crazy time. So I was like, well, dude, you need to do I'm going to do a triathlon. I'm doing one in Miami. You need to do it with me. And so I get on Facebook and I just message him like, hey, dude, are you going to do this triathlon with me or not? And he was like, well, I'm so busy with my book tour. You know, I just had my book, Proteinaholics, and my partners are kind of just want me to. I was like, Doc, look, there is no one in America that is doing what I'm doing, and there's no doctor that would ever do it with them. I said, so think about that for your buddies. Go tell them that story. Tell them that you got a patient that's lost over 200 pounds by the time surgery happened. And then I want you to tell them that you're going to do the race with me. And then I want you to tell them we're going to get on TV and everybody's going to know. And he's like, well, he said, let me get back with you. And like 2 days later, he inboxed me. He's like, dude, I'm registering. You let me know when you registered. And I said, I registered right then. I was like, I'm registered. He went, he messaged me. He's like, I'm registered too. He said, we're doing it.
That's
That's where it
fantastic.
started. That's where it started. So then we're like, hey, we need to train together, and we need to kind of see. He wanted to see me perform and see how I was doing. So we did a small one here in Houston. I think it was about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and that's one where we made local news coverage, and you can see all that on Facebook, Big the Little page. You can look at that. It's pretty encouraging.
Yeah, that's awesome. What an incredible relationship to have with your doctor, and how fortunate is it that that you had somebody who was responsible and willing to do it. And then I guess kind of lastly, if you could go back, a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, and beyond, and you could have a conversation, with your former approaching 500-pound self, is there anything that you think that you could have said, or things that you could have communicated to that person that maybe would have helped you either get started on the journey earlier, or just helped you at the time?
Yeah, I think back to a few people that did try to reach out to me. That was worried about me, and I think back that I should have took them up. Shouldn't have been scared. You know, I think I probably would have. If I could have changed anything, the first time I chose to have surgery, I wouldn't have had the surgery that I chose. I wouldn't have had lap band surgery. I think I really lost 6 years of my life. I wish that I would have made a choice to change my mind a lot earlier. Because I'm 44, I'm still young. Over the last year, I've hiked down in San Diego. I've seen I've seen all the cliffs. Went on a big hike. I went to Haiti. I helped build the orphanage over there, and I got to jump off a cliff. And all those things that I've done. I've ridden 66 miles. I've jogged 10 miles 2 weeks ago. I've jogged Central Park. I've jogged down Main Street in Tennessee, with all the Music City. I've jogged over the bridge in Pennsylvania to the Pittsburgh Steelers Stadium. I've jogged down the Mystic River. I've done a lot of over the last. I've lived over the last 8 months. And I just wished I could have lived for the last 20 years when my kids were growing up. So I think I would have just said, hey, dude, you're you're robbing yourself from your life, but you're really robbing your family from living. Because in my family, I gauge, me and my wife we gauge what we want to do. I can remember I can remember going to Disney World with my kids, and I didn't want to walk, and I hated Disney World. I loved them going to Disney World, but I hated going because it was a lot of walking. So I can remember renting a scooter, a handicap scooter, because you could do that at Disney for $50, and I can remember, riding around the scooter while my kids are walking in Disney World, and just thinking, man, my kids have to be embarrassed because of this. And I can remember them being in a ride, and me scooting over to get me a funnel cake, and eating a funnel cake on the deal, and Dad's going, I have no idea why I heard him talking. I have no idea why that man's eating dessert and being as big as he is and sitting in a scooter, son. But some people are like that. I heard a guy say that to me, and the redneck in me wanted to go beat his ass, because if I'd have grabbed hold of him, we would have had a little problem because I wasn't going to let go. Now, if he took off running, that scooter wasn't fast enough. I know that much. But I think I would tell myself, hey, you got to do something, and you need to make up your mind a little quicker than what you're doing, because there's no Netflix TV show that's so important that makes you tied up so much time on the couch. There's no series that you could watch on TV that's greater than being outside. Um, so I think I would have told myself, hey, you need to get your butt in gear and make up your mind how you're going to do it. Because I think that's a problem that big people get into. We just go, hey, well, this is who, and that's the identity whenever you get taught to, wrongly. My identity and the emotions that rose up inside of me when the guy said that to his son was, hey, this is who I am. If you don't like who I am, this is America, man. Come on, say it to my face. Say it to my face. That kind of deal. And all that, in the inside of me, I'm going, why am I doing this? Why am I eating a damn funnel cake, sitting in a handicap chair because I'm too fat to walk at Disney World with my kids? Why am I eating this funnel cake? And in my mind, I'm going, because it's really good. But I think those are things that are reality to everyone watching. If you're big and you're watching me, I speak your language. I mean, fat is a language. I know every trick to the book. I know how to tie my shoes without it hurting my leg. I know how to do everything fat because I've been fat my whole life. And fat is a way of life. And fat people get offended if I'm sitting and Jason's sitting there looking at me and he says, "Hey, look at the fat guy." Well, guess what? This fat guy is going to be waiting for an opportune moment to whip your ass out in the parking lot. Because I will wait, now, but don't run, because if you run, we're going to have a problem. And then I'm going to call my buddy the skinny that loves me, and he's going to whip your ass when you go to the bathroom or something. So don't call me fat, but I know that I'm fat, and inside my heart, I know that's a problem. But inside my heart, I know it's a way of life, and I know the reasons why I'm fat, and I know how I got there. And you think like that. You think like you. There's a fat way of thinking. Before I did it big to little, because that's more of a politically correct deal. It was addicted to being fat. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was going to do. I was like, I'm calling addicted to being fat because it's an addiction. You're addicted, and like I had all these skinny people going, "Hey, I know you're fat. I know you're okay with saying fat, but you can't say fat in the world we live in because you'll offend somebody." And I'm like, you know what? You're probably right. So then I called it big to little, but the terminology and the way of life of a person that's big is you think certain ways, and so that's something I would tell myself. Stop thinking like you're fat. Stop. There's a you that's inside of you that has a desire. So I've got people that are that I've started reaching out to me that are close to me, some family members that've gone through some stuff, and so man, I'm taking them right down the same road I was. There's certain things you got to do. You got to make a choice of how you're going to do it, whether you choose to get medical help or whether you choose to grunt it out like Jason did, cut out, all. I mean, and there's all. I've got a close friend that married me and my wife, Kenny Brigman. He's lost 140 pounds in a year and a half, and he's grunted it out. He's done it. He's done it through diet. You know, he instead of, you know, he's a manager of the store. Instead of getting the guys to pull orders, he'll go out there and help them, and he'll, you know, get active, and you know, all those things that you do. So whether it's through surgery or through, you know, through exercise or through surgery, exercise, and diet, whatever you choose, the main thing you got to do is you got to stop thinking like you're fat, because when you stop doing that, when you stop, you know, piling the food on, or thinking you need a chicken fried steak instead of grilled chicken, or whatever you want to do, or you know, you got to first, you got to get a goal. You know, you got to get a goal. What am I going to do? What can I do today? And then what's my goal for let's say 6 months, a year from now? If you want to do something a year from now, what is it going to be? Well, guess what that is? Well, for me, it was a triathlon. Well, then once I saw that I could do a sprint triathlon, guess what it became? I'm going to do an Olympic triathlon, because I'm not gonna do a small goal. I'm not gonna like keep on. Okay, I want you to walk 20 minutes. Well, guess what? That 20-minute walk goal wasn't a goal to stay like I'm. Hey, that's your goal forever. You're walking 20 minutes a day, Bubba. Let's go. No, my next goal was walk a mile. And then my next goal was, hey, now let's try to walk that mile in 18 minutes, or let's walk that mile in 16 minutes. And then it was like, hey, let's go a mile and a half. So you got to get a goal. And so like I'm helping a family member out, and I don't know what our time level is, but if I need to shut up, just tell me to shut up, and we'll do a part two. But the deal is, I'm helping this family member, and I said, what do you want to do? And she says, hey, I've always wanted to do a color run. I was like, well, look, I'm going to come do a color run with you whenever you say you're going to do it. And so let's find a color run. So guess what? She's not released from surgery. She's waiting for the doctor to get her all released, but she's kind of walking. And so as soon as her doctor releases her, she's going to start walking a little bit more, and we're going to go do a color run together. And that's not a year goal. That's going to be like a 3-month goal, because she wants to continue to build her goals. Well, you know, if I told you right now that my ultimate goal, and if my guy said, hey, that goal of doing a sprint triathlon sucks. You need to do a 100-mile run. Well, you know what? I would say, dude, a 100-mile run, I can't run down the end of my driveway without passing out. I'm not doing this. But you know what? If I was thinking about an ultimate goal from now for me, I'm thinking, dude, it would be incredibly bad to the bone if I could ever get in a position to do a 100-mile run. Because you look at some of that stuff now, that's saying something. You know what I'm saying? So I've already got a 2-year goal, and my 2-year goal may be crazy to some, but you know, my 2-year goal would be to do a full Ironman. So in 2018, I want to do a full Ironman. So I've got a 2-year goal, because I saw how important a 1-year goal of doing a sprint triathlon escalated my whole thinking that these little small steps that I'm doing would lead to something greater. So I've already committed to do a half Ironman with my doctor next April. So me and the doctor are going to do the Galveston half Ironman next April. And you know what? A lot of people are going to start following the story, and I'm so happy about that, because I'm probably going to get a free bike out of the deal. No, I'm joking. That's a joke, but I hope it's true. So Felt's listening to me, you know, that's a real deal. I'm trying to lead people to the right way here, and Jason probably would like to benefit from a Felt discount himself. But the thing about it is that at that half Ironman, that's not my ultimate goal, because you got to have something ahead of you. You have to have that. You know, I think that's what I would tell somebody. Okay, hey, yeah, what you want to lose weight? Great. What's your goal? I don't care. And what's going to make you live? Is it going to be, you know, I told my brother, I was like, so my thing was, I went through after all of my success, and I'm so jazzed up. Hey, I'm doing this. My next thing was like, I had goals for people. I went to my wife. I was like, babe, you won't believe this. She's like, what? I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the sprint triathlon. And you know what? I think you're going to do one too. And she's like, look, you do you. Let me do me. I ain't getting in no water swimming. I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe this goal thing doesn't work for other people. So then I tried it on my brother. I was like, hey, man, Paul, I'm doing this deal. I got a goal for you. You're going to do it with me. He's like, no, I'm not. I was like, so I started talking to him about the goal, and he was like, you know what my goal is? I've been thinking about it. I was like, what? He said, well, I want to go do the Appalachian Trail hike. And so he's not in the shape to do that right now, but he's walking. He started walking 20 minutes a day. And he started doing that. And then he started walking a mile. Now he's up to 3 miles. Him and his wife both are doing it because they got a goal that they wanted to do as a couple, and they're just going to do it.
Well, it sounds like you're quite the inspirer and the conspirator as well in all of this. And I'll
Well, I
look.
think I think I think you gave me a goal though. The last time we talked, you're like, "Hey, we're going to go do Leadville. I'm going to do the Leadville next year." I'm like, I started looking at it. I'm like, man, that's a great. Jason's got a goal for me. I'm going to do. It sounds like I'm going to go to Leadville
Look,
and breathe hard.
it's an open invitation.
Yeah.
I'm planning to be there. Josh has made mention of being there, and I've mentioned it to several other people. And the invitation is certainly open. It'd be great to have a community of people there to do it with, and
Yeah.
I'll look forward to hearing that race report in September, and I'll look forward to April as well. Who knows? Maybe I'll try and get down to Galveston to cheer you on, or.
You come do it with us. I got a goal for you, Jason.
Yeah, I'm with your wife. I'm not as fond of trying to breathe underwater while also exercising. That's
Or looking for jellyfish, right?
but look, if I can do the run and the bike part, I'm in.
Yeah, what we need is we need to put together a what do you
A
call it? Where
team.
they,
Yeah,
yeah,
we need a
yeah,
team.
the team relay, the
Yeah,
relay.
exactly. Well, Marcus, thanks for the inspiration. Thanks for the honesty. I know there was a lot of stuff in there that that probably is not easy to talk about, and I appreciate the fact that you were willing to, and that you're inspiring people, and that
You know,
you.
I have to be honest here, right here. I have to be honest. I've had one fan with me this whole time, and there he is. So he's been sitting here just patiently letting Dad talk while I'm petting my lab. So if you see me petting my dog every once in a while,
That's
that's what
awesome.
I
Well,
stand here.
well, thanks again, and I'll include links to your Facebook, to Big to Little, and everything. And I really appreciate the time, and I'll look forward to catching up with you soon. Maybe I'll bring my bike back here over to Houston. We can catch a training ride or a
You know,
run or something.
I'm averaging 20 miles an hour right now. So
Yeah, well, I need to get my butt I need to get my butt in gear. I don't want to be like the tiny little guy that you're
oh
like
yeah,
going past and I'm just staring at you ahead.
yeah. There
Uh,
you go.
well, thanks again, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Good.